Hello and welcome, and thank you very much for joining me again in the studio in South Wales, UK, where I paint away the stress of everyday life. So today I was thinking, winter's on the horizon, Christmas is there, we can smell the holly and the crackling wood fires, and yes, won't be long before Santa starts to come and join us and give us some presents. How fun is that? So I thought to myself, let's do a winter themed painting today. So without further ado, let's do that.
So grab your brush, have a great time, and don't forget to click subscribe. Visit clive5art.co.uk.
So thank you very much for watching that introduction, and as I said, a fantastic thumbs up, a comment, a subscription would be great. Now subscribing, a lot of people, I'll talk to you about that in a second, a lot of people say please subscribe to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, and it sounds like as if we want money off you, but we really don't, because when you press that subscribe button, it is absolutely 100% free, and that's all you have to do is watch the odd advert for us to get a little bit of revenue for giving you this free content. So a subscription really helps my channel and other YouTube channels to basically grow and get out there and show people exactly what we're up to. So yeah, I thought it would be a good day today to ask you to do that, and please leave me a comment. I do read the comments. I can't always get to answer them because I got so many subscribers now. We've got over 200,000 subscribers, and it's very difficult for me to answer everybody's comment. But bear in mind, I do actually read them, and I will respond to the ones I think that need the help the most. So as you can see, I'm just drawing out, and you can do this. Sketching out is a good idea to give yourself an idea of where things are going to be. So I thought I would do some sort of a bank, maybe a little stream coming down there, because we want a bit of water. We want a bit of water in this, a little brook or a little creek or whatever you call it in your country. And I thought we'd just put some maybe trees and things there like this, a couple of more trees. And as you can see, it's just a very thin, easy guide for me. And maybe just put tips of some mountains in the background. And that's all I basically do. But I can do that mentally. But I thought it would be good as a beginner that if you give yourself some sort of a guide just to work to, because you can lose perspective, especially with something like this, because there's our horizon line. So things in the background are going to be a lot smaller. And they are in the midground and they are in the foreground. So we want to put something in the foreground to push that back. And also, if I've got a little stream coming in, I've got to think of the way that's actually going to come. So coming from that, say, vanishing point there, and it needs to widen out. So it gives it a little bit more perspective. You're drawing the eye into the painting. That's roughly where I want the eye to be drawn there, like that. So the colours we've got on the palette today are basically a bit of titanium white. Titanium white. I've thickened up my titanium white there. As you can see, you can use a little bit of thickening agent. You can buy that quite readily in art shops. You can buy the thickening paste. Also, you can add a little bit of chalk to your paint if you want to, if you're going to glaze your painting later on. Add a little bit of extender or medium. There's loads of things that you can actually pick up off the shelves these days in the arts and crafts stores. I've got some mid blue, some mid yellow, some burnt umber, some black. I might add a few other little colours in later on, maybe a green or two. I don't know yet, because I got a lovely blue and yellow there, the neutral blues and yellows. So I should be able to mix some greens up from that. Without further ado, let's get some paint on the canvas and get some colour into the sky. So I'm getting a bit of white onto my brush like that. I'm just going to check my cameras because I have had difficulty, issues with my problems with my cameras lately. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's put some sky in. So I added a touch of blue to my brush a little bit darker up the top. So we want that lovely sky crisscrossing like this, crisscrossing like this. There you go. I don't know, my angles, yeah, my angles are over it. My angles are okay. There we go. So I'm just going to put a bit of sky in, just like this. Dum 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 dum. I'm going to get a little bit of kitchen roll. I'm going to pick up a little bit of burnt umber, just a small touch of burnt umber, just on the tip of my brush there, because I just want to darken this sky up. Anyway, I just want to make it look a little bit dirty, basically, because it's been snowing. I expect it's been snowing. It definitely has been snowing. It's going to be anyway. It will be. There's going to be snow on the ground because we want that wintry feeling, don't we? We'll just get some. I'm working on a canvas panel. It's a 16 by 12 canvas panel. I put some gesso on it. As you can see, there's all little bits and pieces. I had to sand that down. I sanded it back with a sanding block like that to get it all nice and smooth, because there's another painting under there that I did not so long ago. A lot of people say to me, what do you do with your paintings? And well, basically I paint over them or chuck them in the bin. And that's what I do, because I can't possibly save every single painting that I do. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I keep the odd painting because I think that's worked out better than I thought it did. So, you know, it's quite nice. Nice guy. We don't want anything too wassing in there. So I'm going to get some bit of burnt umber, a bit of blue, burnt umber and blue. Look, it's a lovely, makes a lovely colour. A little bit of white. I want to get that more brown than blue, more of a grey then. More of a grey. I need it quite pale. Need it quite pale. There we are. Is that pale enough? Is that pale enough? I ask myself. Is it? Take a little bit of brush, paint off my brush. It's okay. It'll do. We're gonna manage with that. It's only a little tiny mountain, maybe. Just hiding up in the background there like that. There we go. Little tiny mountain. A little bit of brown. Let's just put a little bit of contrast in there like that. Just very, very quick, easy mountain shape like that. Maybe we'll just put another tip of one there, just like that. Way back in the background there. Done. That's it. That's what we need to do. Clean our brush. And I clean my brush using water. A little bit of kitchen soap like this. Baby soap is better. If you can buy some baby soap for babies. That's soap for babies. That's not even good because it's got a little bit of moisturiser in it. Give them it a really good old swill. Rinse it out in some clean water like that. I'm wiping that off on some kitchen paper. Don't dab it, don't pull it. Dab it, don't pull it. I do repeat myself a lot sometimes, so okay. We need some burnt umber. Again, we need some blue. We need a little touch of yellow. Come on, a little bit touch of yellow. So we've got a green colour. So blue, burnt umber, blue, burnt umber, and yellow. Look at that lovely green colour. Get a bit of white. Lighten it up. Look at that. It's like an olive green. Isn't that lovely? Very, very subtle tones we want. There we go. A little bit more yellow. A little bit more blue. Touch of burnt umber. Just play with your colours. There's no actual worry about recipes and things like that. People say, what recipe you're using? I don't know. I'm using a Clive's recipe. It's all in my head. All we're going to do is just tap in. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. To me it's okay. But for the camera's sake, I might have to make that just a little bit darker because you might not see that as well as I thought you would. So we're going to put some, just using the edge of the brush. It's a very sharp edge I've got under that brush. I've pushed it like this, pulled it like that onto the paint and the palette, and it's got a nice sharp edge. Look, there we go. So basically just tapping in, tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. I'm not going to rush this one today because I haven't painted properly for quite a while, and my wife said to me, she said, Clive, she said, you haven't painted anything really for a long time except for YouTube. And I went, well, no, I haven't. Which is, it's quite a shame, really, that I don't really sit and paint as much as I used to. I make a lot of videos and things, but I don't actually paint. When I say paint for myself, I don't actually paint much for myself at all, really. Which is quite a shame, really. It is. Maybe in the summer, because it's quite cold here. It's quite cold in the old studio sometimes. Burnt umber. Burnt umber. And now I'm going to put in a few bigger bits here, there, like this. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. A little tiny touch of black. Do you remember shades? Remember when I said we're making shades and tints and tones and things? So remember that when we're doing things like this. So what happens when we add black? We wonder. Well, if you don't know, you need to check that video out. It's in the iCards. It's up there somewhere. It'll pop up on the screen. Tints, tones and shades. It'll explain everything to you. And I can come down. Just like that. There you go. Do, 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 do. Right, we'll do it again. We'll do that over the other side, because we want to put a few things like this. Dum dum dee 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 dee. I should start singing jingle bells and things like that, but I'm not going to, because it really does annoy me. If you start singing Christmas carols too early, it spoils things, doesn't it? I think it does. Let's pull in a bit of that down like that. Let's clean in the brush. As you know, how I do that now. And I'm just using the same brush. I haven't changed my brush yet. I'm still using this short flat. I haven't changed my brush yet. So I'm going to get a little bit of blue. A bit of white. A little bit of burnt umber to that. I just want to darken that. Now, if you add green to blue, I think that's the opposite, isn't it? Blue? No, red. Green. Opposite the blue is orange. It is. Opposite the blue is orange. So if I add a bit of orange to blue, then it's gonna darken that blue up for you. I haven't got any red on the palette, so I can't do that, but I'm just gonna put in some water just for now, where I think this is going to be. There we go. I think it's going to be around here somewhere like that. Do, 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 do. A bit of white. Let's get a bit of white. Let's lighten that up just a touch there like that. I'm not going to wash my brush. I'm just going to get some burnt umber now. And I'm just going to darken up areas like this. I'm just going to block this. This is what I call a block out now. We're going to block this out. Just like that with a bit of burnt umber. There you go. Don't worry too much about what's where and where's what yet at the moment, because all we want to do at the moment is just get some shape. Block this out. We can see where we go in then with it. I'm going to get a little bit of black just on my brush. I'm just going to put a bit of shadow in there like that. I'm just looking at shapes now. I'm looking at the paint. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the painting and seeing where these shapes are. There's a little outcrop there, look. See, so if I just put a little bit of shadow under that, it just stands out that bit more, doesn't it? Forget that's a riverbank. We do in there. So, and again, the same this side. Same this side. I like burnt umber, especially for doing snow and things like that. When you start putting the snow on, you'll see what I mean. And I'm quite loose. I quite like being loose about it. So I'm just flicking in some black, just to darken in certain areas like that. Just be loose. Just you can't really make mistakes with painting. You know, it is what it is, and you develop this lie that sometimes you get, and you can see certain things and certain patterns will talk to you. Let the painting talk to you. I understand that it sounds mad when I say let the painting talk to you, but I wasn't expecting to put a rock or anything there, but all of a sudden, you know, I can see there's a potential for rocks and things. I can just see that now. It's going to be even more so when we start putting snow and stuff in there, you know. So I'm going to clean that brush again. Now we need to put in some just snow in the background before I start putting some trees and things in. So let's just get a little bit of white. Now to the white, I'm just going to add the smallest amount of blue to it just to make it cold, because we don't want it bright white, we want a cold white. So if you add a little bit of blue to your white, you'll find that it just gives it that little bit of warmth, because the blue, it warms the painting up. You think it would be the opposite way. You think it would make it look really cold, but that slight tint of blue actually does warm it up a lot. It really does. And then you just pull in a little bit of snow like that. Don't worry if that paint's just a little bit wet, because all it's going to do is just pull a bit of dirty colour into this snow like that. And you get these brighter areas and some dirty areas, and it just looks like there's little snow drifts and things. And don't overpaint all that brown. We don't want to do that. And then we get a little bit more white and just touch in that bright white, then a little bit of bright white here and there, just like that. Take a little bit of paint off the brush, but just tap in. Remember what I said about tapping those brushes? Very little paint on this. It's basically a dry brush now. And all we want to do now is just put a few white, crispest looking highlights on these trees. A little bit of snow coming down there. You know, we could put a little bit of snow just on the tip of that mountain there, like that, where it's been snowing. There we go. We can put a few. Don't forget, this is very dry brushed. We're just putting this snow on these trees. Tippy tippy tappy tap tap tap. Don't overdo it. Nice and gentle. There we are. Nice and gentle. Don't overdo that. Just getting that highlight. It's just been snowing, or stopped snowing, or we can put some snow in this actually. I show you how to do some snow. There we are. And then just get a little bit of this blue. Bring that snow down there and then like that. There you go. And just get some of these banks in on these snow drifts. There we are. Get some snow in there. Just dragging the brush on the side. We can play around with this in a second, but for now we just get a little bit of colour in there. As I said, just use a very bright white, just to highlight certain areas, just like that. It's been snowing, and there we go. All the little rabbits have been running around, and just cleaning my brush. There you go. So we're getting a bit of snow coming in there. Now as we come a bit closer, I think I'm just going to use a brighter white now. There we go. Using it a little bit thicker, just to bring in some of those drifts and things. There we go. Bringing that down into the water's edge there like that. Getting our brush, a little bit of black, and getting that edge there. Breaking that up there like that. Taking a little bit of paint on just on the very tip of the brush. Just put a few little rocks like that. Just coat the snow. A little bit of black. Again on the very tip of the brush. Putting some detail in. Just like that. A lot of rocks there. There you go. So you can see that's already started to look quite nice. What I need to do now is a little bit more work there. So let's get some snow again, just coming off this bank like that. Just white paint. Just like that. Use your white paint up now. Just dragging that across like this. And the reason we put the colour underneath is because snow is not always white. Remember that snow isn't just white, it could be all different colors. It adopts the color that it's lying on, actually. So let's just pulled a bit of paint off this brush now. I'm just going to put a little bit of icy looking water there like that. So what I've got to do now is I'm going to dry that really well with a hairdryer. So I'll do that and then I'll come back to you. Well, I hope that's it's as dry as I want it to be. You really do need to let that dry, actually. Ideally I'd leave it dry for for a good hour before I did this. You don't have to rush your paintings, but I got to make a video, so that's what I do. So I got a bit of a mist in white there. It's zinc mix in white, it's called. Again, you can get this readily available in any art store. And I'm adding a little bit of retarder to that. There you go, a little bit of retarder, a little bit of blue now into that, because I want to blue that up. And now I'm just going to put some mist. Nice blue mist just in the back of this painting, just to cool that down. I'm going to get a little bit of blue into that. Be very careful doing this, because what I want to do now is I just want to put a blue tint just over a little bit of that snow, just like that. A little bit of blue tint. A little bit of a blue tint just to cool that down, make that look a little bit more misty there. Let's get a little bit more white. I just want to kill that back there. Make it look like as if there's some mist and stuff just rising. Because it's a really cold, I've decided this is a cold morning, and there's a bit of mist coming up off the icy water. You can see just a little bit of mist. There we go, just a little bit of mist coming up off the water there like that. And what we can do is get our toothbrush. Never forget, when you're cleaning your teeth, it's not up and down, it's around and around. Let's get some white paint onto our toothbrush and then pull in with our finger towards us. I'm just going to put a bit of snow in. You might not see much of this on camera, but trust me, it's there. My paint's just a little bit too thick, so I'm going to get myself a little bit more paint. There you go, a little bit more paint on my brush. There you go. And you can see there's some snow. There's a little snow drift. Just little flicks of snow. There you go, that'll do me. I don't know what white paint I was using. I just got a big tub of this stuff. There you go, big tub of that. There we are. So I gotta wipe my face. I got artists. I got paint everywhere. I had paint at my nose one day because I don't say I picked my nose, but I might have that day. a very quick scrubby scrub. I'm getting a very thin brush. I'm gonna make a little bit of yellow, a little bit blue, a little bit of burnt umber, some of that dark green. There we go. Nice dark green colour. Look at that. Who needs to buy all these different types of paint? Just play with what you've got. And let's just put some little bits of grass and stuff just flicking in like this. Who knows? Could be anything, gonna really just a little bits of twigs and grasses and things like that. Ooh. So it wouldn't be Christmas without a Christmas tree, so we need to put some Christmas trees in. We need to put some Christmas trees in. Right, just like that. Just like that, we got a Christmas tree. There goes another one. Well, let's do another one. Let's do this one. This one's a little bit closer, and he's on a slight slant. There we are, because the wind has been blowing on him, and it's just blown him over just a touch. There we are. Just a touch. Not very happy, this tree. The squirrels have been climbing all the way up this particular one. There we are. But a few twigs and things like that. A bit of shadow under there. A little bit of shadow. So we've got a few trees there. We could put maybe a tree there. Should we make this one a Christmas tree? Well, why not? Let's put a there you go. Just a nice bunch of trees there. Well, I'm really looking forward to Christmas this year, because we were locked in last year with all the pandemic and things that were going on, and didn't see much family. There we are. Some trees there. What else should we do? We could put some different types of trees, maybe. Something like this. Could be anything. Make it up. Block in some areas. There we are. So all the little squirrels and things that live there. There we are. This is coming on nice. Lee gets some snow. We need to get some snow on these things. So I'm using a little bit of thicker paint now. Using a bit of thicker paint. That thick paint will come into his own in a second. We're just going to put some snow just on these. Never painted a winter scene before. Give it a go. You never know. It's real fun. It is. You can have so much fun with this. Just make it up as you go along. There we go. Don't worry too much. Don't stress about painting. We don't stress. We've got enough stress in our lives without worrying about what things look like. And sometimes when you just let your creativity just take over, you'd be surprised sometimes what wonderful paintings you can actually create just by being loose and free. And just continue to put some snow in on his branches like this. There you go. All right, you then. We could get some. We could use a palette knife if you wanted to use a palette knife. I got some real thick paint here to put some snow. Nice thick impasto effects just to bring this foreground. Just give it a little bit of life by using a little bit of thicker paint. It puts a lot of texture into a painting when you do this like that, and I think that's wonderful to be able to get on a painting. It looks like an oil painting and it looks as if you spend hours and hours and hours on this thing. But just putting a little bit of texture here and there with some really thick paint, it looks really effective, I think. And like I said, don't kill all that dark, because that's what makes it snow. Because you could see that's quite cold over there. Now the blue is starting to dry. You can see it, and the mist, you can see it's quite cold but warm at the same time, which is really strange thing. It's a real strange thing, that is. And just get some, using your palette knife. If you never used a palette knife before, this is the time to practice with your palette knives. You can't really make mistakes. All you can ever do is just have a happy accident, and that's the most important thing sometimes. And just put some texture in, just like this. Don't forget, snow is it's like clouds. It's free. It lands where it wants to land, and it makes shapes that it wants to make. And when we try to paint, we shouldn't force the paint in. We should let the paint just come off the brush, off the palette knife, as it wants to come off. Because if we try to force it sometimes, it doesn't look as effective. But if we just let things just happen naturally and not worry about it, sometimes losing control of something like painting is good. We take control of our lives all the time, and we try to control our lives, which is good. But when it comes to painting, you need to let that go and just relax and just let the snow come off your palette knife and your brush, and you let the leaves just poke through like this, because there's going to be little bits of green showing that haven't got any snow on, because they've just poked their little heads up, and they're looking, and is it spring yet? Is it spring? No, it's not. Oh, it's so cold. I have to go back to sleep until the spring. But there's always little bits of grass showing like that. Always little bits of grass showing their little heads. I like that. And the other thing we could do then, we could get some burnt umber and a little bit of white. Burnt umber and a little bit of white. And maybe we could put there a nice big almighty tree just coming down like this. Sometimes these trees grow. Big trunk there, like that. Maybe even another one just coming down there. These are big ones. These are so big, these trees. Can't see the tops of them. Can't see the leaves or nothing. Maybe see a few branches. Maybe just see a few branches, just like that. Get some white. Just like this. I'll have to get some more white. Let me just get some more white on my palette. I want some. This is a little bit thinner, this white. So let's just put a little bit of white by there, so we can play with this. There we go. A bit of white. I'm pulling it around on an arc like this. Just like that. Nice silver birch tree. I'm going to do the other one. Pulling it, just twisting your brush just a little bit like that. You get the idea. There you go. We could get another, maybe I'm not going to do too many. I'm just going to do another one. I'm just going to leave it at this. I think that just that one there. I think I'm just going to leave it at that. You can put as many of these in as you want. You get the idea. You get the idea. A bit of black now. They got that little bit of black bark sometimes, haven't they? There you go. Just put a little bit of black in there now. You get the idea. What we need to do now, get some white, and then let's just pull some white in there, just like that. Now I've started to mix my paints now, so my paints are all merging together, which is a bad thing really, but anyway, that'll do. Get some branches. Sticking out of the tree. Just like that. You have fun, you practice, you do what you want to do. You make these trees any way you want them. Just like this. You get the idea. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Sometimes we think too much. There we go. Have I got enough white on my... I don't want to put any more white down. So I just want to put a bit of snow. Just catching on these branches like this. We've got a couple of trees anyway there. We've got a couple of trees. What I need to do now is just get some white paint. And just tidy up the base of this river. There we go, like that. And maybe put a few rocks and things like that. Get a little bit of shadow. Just a few little reflections in the water like that. There we are. Some there's a wintry type scene painting for you. Quite like that. We could go to town. Let's go to town. Let's go to town. Let's put last thing I'm going to do now. I think I'm just going to... What can I do? I'm going to put something here. So I'm just going to put a bush or something. There we go. I'm just going to put a bush or something there like that. Get some snow. I need some fresh paint. I haven't put enough paint on my palette. No. We need a very thin paint for this. There we go. That's better. There you go. Get a few. Tell you what we could do. We could a little twig thing coming out of there like that. Maybe it's a little seedling that's just come off one of them silver birch trees. There we are. I'm just messing about now. Okay, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you very much for joining me in the studio. I have a bit of fun. You could make that into a Christmas card, I suppose. But yeah, there's a few techniques there. Not the best painting in the world, but it's okay as a lesson. I'm quite happy with that. I've enjoyed myself. I've de-stressed. I'm really happy. So thank you very much for joining me in the studio, and I'll see you next week for another relaxation painting. Bye. Happy Christmas.